Maybe he punched harder than what's the other guy? The black guy, Wilder. He doesn't punch faster than Wilder. If he doesn't punch faster than Wilder, he's not gonna touch this guy. And that's what I see. He punches hard, but he doesn't punch fast. If Tyson Fury can get away from Wilder's fast punches, Joshua might be in trouble.
Breaking news. Tyson Fury is back in the ring. Apparently July 24th versus Tyson Fury with hair. That's who he's fighting. It's that meme that's going around Twitter right now. Your next opponent on level 12 is... That's who he's fighting. No, it's this guy named Marius Watch. Let me tell you something. Ain't nobody watching this, okay? Whether it's Marius, Tyson, Bison, nothing. We ain't Marius watching a damn thing. I'll tell you that. This fight is...
You don't like when a fighter does this, you just said? What is your take?
No, it's just, look. I can see everybody's point here. You know, he's in the gravy years. He established himself. His legacy is already cemented, and he doesn't want to go out with a loss. I think the Rico Verhoeven fight, I think that was an eye-opener for him, to be honest with you, because it was like he struggled with him, right? But then he was able to pull it off at the end. But relinquishing the titles for me is like, you know, you see the white smoke. He's done.
Mike Tyson has thrown out a striking forecast that could reshape the entire heavyweight picture, cautioning Anthony Joshua that Tyson Fury's footwork and fight intelligence will have him lunging after a bout he was never built to win.
I like that. You know, I love fucking Joshua. I think this Tyson's too elusive. He's not gonna hit him. Listen, we keeping it honest, right? I like Joshua. I like Joshua a lot, right? He don't punch. Maybe he punched harder than what's the other guy? The black guy, Wilder. He doesn't punch faster than Wilder. If he doesn't punch faster than Wilder, he's not gonna this guy. And that's just what I see. He punches hard, but he doesn't punch fast. If Tyson Fury can get away from Wilder's fast punches, Joshua might be in trouble.
At the same time, Fury's upcoming assignment has now been made official, and the reveal caught a large chunk of the fan base off guard as he gears up to meet Marius Wack in a heavyweight showdown slated for July 24th.
Marius Wack? That's even better. Marius Wack. Hell yeah. This fight is more whack than his name. But apparently he is... Hold on, let's get his box rec up because it's pretty atrocious. This is clearly a let me just stay busy fight before he has to go and fight Anthony Joshua. Here is the box rec. He is 46. He's 39-13, and his record looks like a Christmas tree. I mean, this is just pitiful. It's pitiful. Look at all these bullshit championships, dude. The vacant Republic of Poland International Heavyweight title. Excuse me. What? What is that? The Republic of Poland International Heavyweight title. Holy fuck, I could step in and give Tyson Fury rounds. As many as this guy's gonna give him.
The pairing has left a good portion of supporters feeling let down, particularly given how convincingly Wash was beaten by Moses Atama, and Wade Plemons has gone as far as saying that even a clash between Usyk and Deontay Wilder would carry more logic than this one.
Stand it. As much as I don't agree with Alexander Usyk potentially fighting Deontay Wilder, I think the fight's ass. I don't think it'll be competitive, but I understand it because he's not looking to fight for a belt. He's not looking to get in any way near shape close to the belt because he dropped all the belts. So he's going to go fight his retirement fight, right? The last dance, fine. Even though it should be Rico Verhoeven, fine. Tyson Fury is supposed to be getting ready for Anthony Joshua, and now that all the belts are going to be up for grabs, or at least 3 of them, that one of them is going to win a world championship. They might even do that fight for a world championship. How does this get you ready for that? Why even have a fight? Real question. Why even have a fight? Unbelievable, dude. Shit. Moses Atama wiped his feet on this guy 2 years ago.
With the conversation surrounding Usyk's choices only getting louder, Max Kellerman has taken a step back to the days of Muhammad Ali, drawing a contrast between that era and how dramatically the heavyweight scene has shifted over the decades.
But back then there was only 2. He was stripped of one of the belts. He fights Leon Spinks, or maybe Spinks was stripped when he gave Ali the immediate rematch instead of fighting Kenny Norton. And then Ali beats Leon Spinks in a rematch and retires as the champ, sort of, right? Or as the lineal champ. But in the meantime, Since Kenny Norton didn't give a shot, one of the sanctioning bodies sanctioned him against Larry Holmes as the heavyweight. And even though Holmes wasn't the lineal champ at that point, a consensus had formed. Holmes never won the lineal title, but he really started his own lineage because it was clear he was the best heavyweight.
The discussion then takes another sharp twist, with Tim Bradley claiming that Usyk walked away from his titles because the prospect of a defeat was more than he could stomach, arguing that stepping aside was not a call he was ever entitled to make.
He's done. He's done. He's done. Like,
for sure.
he's left the sport of boxing. He's going to fight, but he's
in the
left
business of boxing?
Sport. He's in the business of boxing now.
That's a fact.
That's how I feel. So,
And he was the ultimate sportsman in the sense that he fought everyone at cruiserweight. He moved up to heavy. He didn't duck the smoke with anyone. As Mike said, not only did he move up in weight 20, 30 pounds, then he gave up 20, 30, 40 pounds to the best fighters in the world and still beat them. He did all that.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Now he's saying, I don't want to do it anymore.
Do you believe that he deserves to be able to do that?
hell no.
He beat Fury twice. He beat AJ twice. He beat Dubois twice.
Expanding on that stance, Tim Bradley suggests Usyk is sidestepping the danger of tasting his first professional loss. He highlights that the Ukrainian has already shared the ring with top-tier fighters across several divisions, yet now seems reluctant to put his belts on the line against threats such as Agat Kabayel. Bradley dismisses the notion that a decorated resume on its own is reason enough to bow out. As he sees it, for as long as Usyk keeps competing rather than hanging up the gloves, the obligation to defend every strap he owns stays firmly on his shoulders.
This is a sport, bro. Like, do you understand that? Like,
cleaned it up.
these dummy down fights that they be doing.
Cleaned it up.
Who cares? There's a guy that came up, like he came up, right? From cruiserweight all the way, built himself at heavyweight division.
Okay.
Right?
Evander, the real
then
deal
he got an
Holyfield.
opportunity to fight the man, the Gypsy King. So what do you think Caballero's been doing? He's built himself.
Time is
Right?
coming. His time is here.
But he
now.
want to test himself against the great.
But the great said I'm done because I wiped out
Well,
my
if you
whole
done,
era of
and
guys.
then if you done,
He showed
then
he's
bye.
done. Okay,
We'll see you later.
he did that. He gave up
See you
all the
later.
belts. You guys have fun with them now.
Yeah,
Let
wait,
you guys
this
go.
gets
I'm
to the
stepping
point.
away.
Even with the wave of criticism, chatter about Usyk's send-off bout before retirement keeps gathering momentum, and Dave Allen has now weighed in on who deserves that farewell shot. While the fan base stays split over Usyk's supposed interest in meeting John Jones, Allen feels the pairing holds no real draw whatsoever. He points out that plenty of people still hand Mike Tyson the crown of the baddest man on the planet. Yet to his mind that honor truly sits with Jones. Allen contends the MMA icon built that standing through sheer dominance, and reckons no competitor from any era is more deserving of the label than John.
The Verhoeven rematch has to happen. There's a lot of people out there who thought, Rico was robbed and he would have won the fight, and I think Usyk probably should go back and revisit that and right that wrong, and I think he would as well. The Wilder fight, I think, would be interesting. I think the four best heavyweights of this generation, Fury, Joshua, Usyk and Wilder, so he complete the full set if he was to watch Wilder and beat him. The John Jones shout is outrageous. John Jones is probably the hardest man that's ever lived. He's probably the hardest man that's ever walked planet Earth, ever. He's probably the baddest guy. People said Mike Tyson, but John Jones probably the hardest guy to ever live.
Yet despite crowning Jones the baddest man on the planet, Dave Allen is convinced that climbing into the ring against Usyk would be a colossal error. He forecasts Jones being stopped inside 3 or 4 rounds, simply because boxing is an entirely separate discipline. From his standpoint, Jones lacks both the seasoning and the boxing foundation required to hang at that level. He even makes the case that Jones doesn't carry the striking pedigree that someone like Rico Verhoeven would bring into a boxing crossover. Allen warns that a defeat of that kind would tarnish Jones's legacy, and suggests Usyk would be far better served chasing a rematch with Rico instead.
I'm saying, so if he boxes Usyk, he's going to get himself knocked out in 2 or 3 rounds. He's not a ginormous man like Rico Verhoeven.
Right.
So when it comes to boxing, there's no chance. And why would John Jones ruin his mystique of being the baddest man to ever live just to get beat for a few quid in a boxing match? It'd be farcical. So I hope it's Verhoeven. Wilder, I wouldn't be unhappy about, but John Jones, I'm a John Jones fan. I think I'm a fan of his fighting ability. He's just he was unbelievable, wasn't he? I'm not a big MMA guy, but for me, arguably 1 or 2 pound for pound MMA fighters to ever live.
It's a take that's hard to argue with. Meanwhile, the news of Fury's clash with Watch has stirred no shortage of raised eyebrows, especially since it lands just 24 hours before Joshua squares off with Derek Chisora on July 25th. A lot of observers have asked why Fury feels the need for yet another warm-up after already sharing the ring with Arslanbek Makhmudov. Even so, with both heavyweight stars returning on consecutive nights, supporters find it impossible to shake the mounting sense that the pieces are finally slotting together for the long-awaited Fury versus Joshua clash.
He's fighting another. So we're getting. The nice thing about it is the fights line up. It's going to be Tyson on the 24th, and it's going to be. Oh, they're going to be back to back, actually. 25th, right? AJ's the 25th against Christian Prenga. So at the very least, we can't say that the dates, the schedules, all that stuff and more do not line up. So there you have it. Tyson Fury has a fight. It's a weird one.
Before the eagerly anticipated meeting between Fury and Joshua can materialize, the newest twists have already stirred plenty of controversy. Fury opting for a second warm-up has prompted genuine doubts about the shape he's currently in, while also chipping away at the sport's standing in the eyes of many followers. Wade Plemons argues that matchups like these are doing damage to boxing, particularly with Fury lining up against a foe that plenty believe Jake Paul could have handled. He also took aim at Joshua's call to face Chisora, insisting that both heavyweight names ought to be pursuing significant bouts rather than safe, low-stakes outings that leave fans cold.
How are we supposed to take the sport of boxing seriously? Genuine question. How are we supposed to do that? When you have shit like this going on, you're playing touch button apart with Marius Wack. You got, no offense to the guy that Anthony Joshua's fighting, but who the fuck is Prenga? Even if he is 21-1 with 20 knockouts or 21 knockouts, who the fuck is that? Why are we doing this? Tune-up fight this, tune-up fight that. This is Tyson's second tune-up. No need for it. Completely and utterly embarrassing. Apparently, this is, someone said unmatched.
At this point, Fury's date with Watch is being seen by a section of fans as a potential roadblock to the long-anticipated meeting with Joshua. Many find it faintly embarrassing that Fury is slotting in another warm-up simply to guarantee he's sharp, especially at this stage of his career. Wade Plemons believes the gamble is far bigger than most appreciate, since a single off night could unravel the whole thing. He even confessed he'd relish watching Watch stun the boxing world by outboxing, hurting, and halting Fury, thereby derailing the enormous showdown with Joshua before it ever gets made.
Ever becoming reality.
This is the stuff that makes me hope that Tyson and AJ doesn't happen. I hope this dude knocks Tyson out cold. We want Marius Wack to whack Tyson upside his head, bro. Because what is this? There's just no reason for it. There was no real reason other than, AJ wanted to have one after he got in the car wreck. I get it. But this one especially, there's just no reason. No reason to have it happen. And boxing will absolutely deserve it. And I'm going to say this now. The sport will absolutely deserve it if Tyson goes in there and gets hurt. Again, I'm not hoping for this, but boxing will deserve it. If he gets hurt or if he gets stopped or loses in some way, boxing did it to themselves. Because you sat here and you told us this was the next fight. AJ Fury. AJ has to go get a run up because he needs to get back in fighting shape, I guess. Okay.
A further hot topic swirling around the long-awaited Joshua and Fury spectacle is the question of venue. Suggestions pointing toward Las Vegas as the host site haven't sat well with Carl Froch, who regards the notion as an outright joke. To his thinking, it would be a raw deal for British boxing fans, since both heavyweights forged their careers on the back of enormous backing across the United Kingdom. On top of that, new whispers have surfaced that with Usyk having relinquished his titles, the blockbuster could now be fought with championship belts on the line.
There's no definite guarantees. Nobody's announced anything, but all the noise around this fight now leans towards the fight happening in the States. And I've got to be honest, that is an absolute piss take. And I'm swearing because it's out of order. The British fans are getting absolutely shafted. But this is allegedly the biggest fight in British boxing history. You've got Ben Eubank, you've got me and Groves, and me and Eddie Hearn had it often. We had an argument or a civil chat about what's the biggest fight in British boxing history. This fight now between AJ and Fury might be for one of the vacant titles. It might be the WBC, it might be the IBF. No, it won't be the BC. It might be the IBF or the WBA. That gives it a bit more credence in America because don't forget the Americans will look at AJ and say, okay.
As the back and forth over the Fury and Joshua fight rolls on, the most recent sit-down between Eddie Hearn and Turki Alashik has only poured fuel on the speculation. The further the tale unfolds, the murkier and more suspicious it looks, leaving plenty of people wondering whether something far larger is playing out behind closed doors. Ariel Helwani drew attention to a post from Turkey that initially carried the name Zuffa before it was quietly edited out. He also clocked that Dana White was absent from the photo alongside Hearn. Even more curious, Zuffa executive Nick Khan turned up in a separate image taken at the very same spot, making the whole affair appear far more intriguing than it first seemed.
That individual does not look familiar. Anyway, that's the original tweet from Turkey. The next tweet is one in which it was edited and the word Zuffa was taken out for some reason. Now, was the word Zuffa taken out? You see edited there at 547. Was it edited? Was it taken out because there is no Zuffa presence in this picture right here? Well, later we see this. And this is obviously Nick Khan, who is one of the top dogs at TKO, president of WWE, one of the top dogs at Zuffa Boxing.
While the newest twists have generated no end of confusion around Fury versus Joshua, they've also given rise to a fresh theory. A large number of observers reckon this fight was never something Turki Alalshik or Eddie Hearn could have assembled on their own, and that the strengthening ties to Dana White and Zuffa might be the genuine reason it's finally coming together. That prospect has pushed many to revisit earlier assurances that neither Dana nor Zuffa would have any hand in it. With White tipped to promote marquee boxing events under a new banner, some believe this blockbuster could serve as the ideal launchpad, handing Zuffa one of the sport's biggest fights right out of the gate.
Heard of this report, it's just like flabbergasted, but kind of not, because it's a power move. I feel like Turkey and Dana are just saying, look what we can do. Like, this doesn't make sense. This fight belongs in Wembley, but we can put it in Vegas, and we can just flip the bird to you, Eddie Hearn, and Frank Warren. The fight that has 100% belongs at a UK, most notably Wembley. But on the flip side of things, I have people in my mentions saying, well, Eddie and Frank had 10 years to make this fight, and they failed. So now it's in the hands of someone that is going to make it happen, and therefore they can choose wherever, what day, where it's going to be.
As the developments around the Joshua and Fury bout keep coming, attention is now turning to just how much say both heavyweights actually hold over the biggest calls. Numerous analysts feel the pair carry enough clout to dictate where this blockbuster lands, precisely because it's a contest no promoter can afford to walk away from. Chris Algieri singles out the venue as a pivotal matter, contending that the supporters ought to be the priority. He's of the view that if Joshua and Fury don't fight to stage the event on home soil in the United Kingdom, they'll be turning their backs on the faithful crowd that helped build their careers.
Where you fight. And fighters, especially guys like Tyson and AJ, have a lot of power to decide on these kind of things. So I think you're right. I think they should actually step up and be like, we got to give this.
I'm sure they want it there.
Of course. But I don't know, because AJ had such a good time in Miami. You know, people loved him here. People have always loved Tyson here. We saw him at the White House UFC card over the weekend, and he was like really pumping up being around and enjoying it. So maybe not. Maybe they both see a reason to be in the States, and maybe they don't really have a say in it. And I was like, oh, it's going to be in America. You know, Tyson's going to do his thing to sell it over there. But I agree with you. It's just not going to sell the same here at all.
No, there's not as much clamoring for it here. It will do well, and I do think people will travel over, like from the UK.
Despite all the obstacles,
the buzz surrounding Fury versus Joshua keeps drawing forecasts from some of boxing's most respected voices. Mike Tyson has already thrown his weight behind Fury, citing his mobility and knack for slipping clean punches. Adding to the mix, Amir Khan spelled out why this fight matters so much for Joshua, and disclosed that he still holds faith in Joshua's ability to become the undisputed heavyweight king. It's a dream Usyk himself has voiced as well, expressing hope that the division might be unified by 2027. And while a portion of fans back Joshua to pull it off, plenty of others lean toward Fury for the very reasons Tyson underlined.
I think he's got what it takes to become that world champion and the best fighter in the world, as long as he stays focused and he sticks to his game. There's a lot of big names still out there in the heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division is one of the renowned divisions in the world. And he's proven himself, but I still think he's got a lot to do yet. And to prove that he is the number one in the world, because you've got the likes of Fury, you've got the likes of Wilder. There's so many great fighters out there. So it's going to be a tough couple of years for AJ to prove that he's the best out there.
Yeah, if Joshua and Fury were to fight, it's going to be a tough one. But to be honest, I probably fancy Fury. I fancy Fury because I think that he has more dimensions. You know, I'm not calling Joshua one-dimensional, but what I'm saying is with Fury.
Offering his own read on things, David Price delivered a candid verdict on Fury against Joshua. He feels both heavyweight stars are firmly past their peak, with neither man convincing in his recent outings. That said, Price views Joshua as the more exposed of the two right now, largely down to his knockout defeat against Daniel Dubois. Fury, by contrast, dragged Usyk into fiercely competitive battles, proof that he can still deliver at the sports summit. For Price, that gap hands Fury a narrow advantage heading into what could be boxing's grandest showdown.
As good as he wants to, so it depends who's digressed more than the other, and I think Joshua has, because he's been knocked out by Daniel Dubois. That takes more out here than Tyson Fury losing on points to Alexander Usyk in a really close fight. Yeah. I think Joshua's a little bit more damaged, but that being said, that kind of thing doesn't really affect Andy Joshua because he's strong up there. He'll brush it off, but I think he's digressing more than on the slide a bit more than Tyson Fury.
From jaw-dropping predictions to swelling controversy and heavyweight drama at every corner, the stage is now set for one of boxing's most talked-about showdowns in years. Yet with each new twist, the burning question only grows louder. Who genuinely comes out on top when Fury and Joshua at last collide? If you're keeping pace with every update, every prediction, and every breakdown building toward this mega fight, stay locked in and don't let the next chapter slip past you. Subscribe now, tap the bell, and jump into the conversation, because the biggest moments still lie ahead.